There's a moment in every man's life where he realizes something powerful: silence is stronger than screaming. Walking away is more commanding than trying to convince her to stay. In a world full of noise, of begging, of desperate last words, the man who walks away silently wins. Not because he plays games, but because he's mastered himself. She expected you to chase. She expected a long message, a plea, an argument. But when she looks back and sees nothing, no reaction, no response, no explanation, just silence, something shifts. She questions. She replays the last conversation. She wonders if you ever cared. That's the power of the Stoic man. His silence echoes louder than any words ever could. Silence is not weakness. It's not passivity. It's not apathy. It is strength. It is mastery. It is clarity. A man who walks away silently is not walking away in defeat. He's walking away with discipline, with detachment, with the awareness that anything that requires him to beg, explain, or lower his frame, is not worth his energy. Not anymore. The world has conditioned men to react, to fight, to text back, to prove themselves. But what if the true sign of masculinity was restraint? Stillness? The refusal to chase chaos? The Stoic knows that not every battle is worth fighting. He chooses silence because his energy is sacred. His peace is priority. When you walk away silently, you give yourself the one thing most men never find: clarity. You get your power back. You see the situation for what it is, not what you wanted it to be. You stop idealizing her, stop romanticizing confusion, stop justifying disrespect. You begin to see that losing her wasn't a loss at all. It was a release. She doesn't respect words. She respects presence. And when that presence is gone without drama, without theatrics, without a warning, that's when she feels it. You never begged. You never explained. You simply disappeared with your dignity intact. That's a different kind of pain. One that lingers. You become unforgettable when you leave like a king. No doors slammed. No anger. Just calm. Cold. Focused. Because real men don't announce their value. They live it. And they remove it when it's not appreciated. This isn't revenge. It's self-respect. Understand something: a man who walks away silently is not emotionless. He's emotionally disciplined. He feels deeply. But he doesn't let feelings dictate his frame. He doesn't collapse under pressure. He knows that silence is often the loudest message. It's easy to yell. It's easy to send a long text. To defend your name. To prove your worth. But it takes real inner strength to say nothing. To trust your value. To let your absence speak for itself. The more reactive you are, the more control she has. The calmer you are, the more grounded you become. Silence exposes her. It forces her to confront herself. Her actions. Her disrespect. Her assumptions. When you don't give her closure, she has to create it on her own. That's when she realizes what she lost. Not because you shouted it, but because you didn't have to. Let me be clear: walking away silently isn't about pretending not to care. It's about putting your focus where it belongs: on yourself. On your mission. On your peace. It's about showing that your life is too full for games. That your time is too valuable for uncertainty. Every time you respond to drama, you feed it. Every time you explain yourself, you dilute your power. But when you choose silence, you starve chaos. You elevate yourself. You stand apart from the crowd. You become the mystery she never solved, and the standard she'll never meet again. The Stoic man doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He doesn't argue. He observes. He learns. And then, when the time is right, he walks. Quietly. Unapologetically. And he never looks back. What she didn't realize was that your silence wasn't the end of a conversation. It was the closing of a chapter. A man who can walk away silently has already made peace with the outcome. He's not hoping she comes back. He's not checking her stories. He's moving forward, focused, detached, free. And here's the truth, the man who walks away silently doesn't just win her attention. He wins his soul back. He reclaims his time. His focus. His direction. And he doesn't wait around to be chosen, he chooses himself. So when the next test comes, and it will, when she disrespects you, plays games, pulls back, remember this, don't react. Don't chase. Don't argue. Watch. Learn. And when the moment's right, disappear. Let your silence say everything. Because silence is the language of self-respect. And the man who walks away silently, always wins. When you walk away without a word, something rare happens, your energy returns to you. Your focus sharpens. The noise fades. No more second-guessing. No more waiting for her response. No more wondering what you did wrong. The silent walk away isn't just about her, it's about you taking your power back. You see, a man who walks away silently doesn't live for closure. He doesn't need her to understand. He doesn't chase peace in someone else's explanation. His peace is internal, unshakable. That's the core of Stoic masculinity, rooted, calm, immovable. Most men don't get this. They beg. They plead. They send one more message. They want her to see their worth, to acknowledge their pain, to take responsibility. But the truth is, the more you try to convince her, the more she loses respect. Not because she's cruel, but because you've shown her you don't trust your own value. Walking away silently is trusting that the world will realign without you needing to force it. It's trusting that self-respect echoes louder than any argument. It's understanding that real strength doesn't scream, it simply exits. She doesn't expect silence. She expects drama. She's used to men breaking down, losing themselves, begging for attention. When you give her none of that, she has to sit with her own actions. Your absence becomes the mirror. And in that mirror, she sees the difference between boys who chase, and men who choose. This is not about punishment. This is not manipulation. It's about embodying the principle that you don't belong where your value isn't seen. You don't stay where your presence is taken for granted. And you definitely don't entertain confusion when you've offered clarity. Silence is clarity. It's a full sentence. It says, I see everything, and I choose peace over performance. It says, I know what I bring, and I won't beg for someone to realize it. It says, I'm not here to be understood by everyone, I'm here to stand in truth. And what happens next is interesting. The very silence that made her think you didn't care, becomes the silence she can't forget. The stillness that made her think she had power, becomes the vacuum that makes her question it. Because the man who walks away quietly leaves a mark deeper than anger ever could. Think of the great leaders, the disciplined warriors, the Stoics of old, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. None of them sought to win battles with noise. They moved in clarity. They led with calm. They didn't speak to prove. They acted with purpose. And that is what makes them timeless. You must become the same. A man who understands that energy is currency. That not every invitation to chaos deserves your attention. That being misunderstood is a tax you're willing to pay for staying aligned with your higher self. The man who walks away silently always wins because he chooses evolution over ego. He doesn't need the last word. He doesn't seek applause. He doesn't obsess over whether she notices. He walks away for one reason, because staying would mean betraying himself. And that, right there, is the highest form of strength. She'll remember your silence not because it hurt, but because it revealed. It revealed how little she knew you. It revealed how much control you really had. It revealed how secure you were in yourself. And that contrast between the chaos she expected and the calm you gave, that's unforgettable. The man who walks away silently is the man who walks into his purpose. He's not bitter. He's not broken. He's busy. He's building. He's redirecting that emotional energy toward his goals, his growth, his greatness. And in doing that, he becomes untouchable. Eventually, she'll realize. She'll understand that no man has ever walked away from her without making noise. Until you. And that silence. That loss of access. That withdrawal of presence. It'll echo. Long after you're gone. Because you didn't just leave. You elevated. So here's the truth. When you walk away silently, you don't just show her what she lost. You show yourself what you gained: control, focus, power. A man who doesn't beg, doesn't chase, and doesn't explain, becomes the one who gets remembered. Not because he yelled, but because he mastered himself. And in this world, that mastery is magnetic. So stay quiet. Stay grounded. Stay focused. Let the world wonder where you went. Let them feel the space your presence used to fill. That's how kings move. Because at the end of the day, the man who walks away silently, always wins. And so, you must remember, this path of silent strength is not one of loneliness, but of deep alignment. It's not about suppressing your emotions, it's about controlling them. It's not about proving anything to her or anyone else, it's about showing up for yourself with quiet confidence. The man who walks away silently doesn't lose. He levels up. Because silence is more than absence, it's presence in its most powerful form. You didn't walk away because you stopped caring. You walked away because you started caring about yourself more. That's the difference. That's the shift from being reactive to being intentional. That's what Stoic masculinity is built on. You become magnetic, not by force, but by restraint. She may not say it, but she notices. The world may not clap, but it adjusts. Because energy doesn't lie. And the man who protects his energy, protects his future. So let her wonder. Let her sit with the silence. Let her come to her own conclusions. That's no longer your business. Your business is your growth. Your mission. Your discipline. And the man who stays locked into those pillars will always walk further than the man who chases. Let this be your reminder: your silence is sacred. Your self-respect is priceless. And your purpose, it waits for no one. Now, if this message resonated with you, don't just listen, live it. Subscribe for more Stoic wisdom that fuels your masculinity, your mindset, and your mission. Drop a comment below: I choose peace over validation. Let's build a tribe of focused, powerful men who lead with discipline, not desperation. Because in a world full of noise, you'll always be remembered for your silence. Walk strong. Walk silent. Walk free.